everybody. It's me, Stacey Gualandi, host of the Women's Eye podcast. Thanks for joining me. Here at the Women's Eye, we talk with intriguing women who have fascinating personal stories to share, like my guest today, Alenka Vrecek. Her new book, She Rides, Chasing Dreams Across California and Mexico, is an extraordinary account of her 2,500 mile solo journey on a mountain bike, what she calls the beast. But she wasn't just spinning her wheels. This is a deeply personal memoir about pursuing one's lifelong dream before it's too late. Well, welcome to the show, Alenka. How are you?
Oh, I'm just wonderful. We finally have a sunny day in Tahoe.
In Tahoe. Oh my gosh. I know it's so beautiful. I can tell just by looking that you are so in Tahoe. I miss my trips there, but it also means that you're home safe and sound. The beast is where? Parked in the garage somewhere, or?
It's in the garage waiting for the ride.
The next adventure, right? So,
Sure.
Well, again, here is the book, She Rides. It's so good. It's so good. I felt like I was on this journey with you. I mean, it was, I felt like I could feel your pain and then that relief of sleeping at night and getting off the road. But when you see this now, when you're holding it in your hands, how does that feel for you now?
A relief. Kind of like I was relieved at the end of the ride that it was over. And it's a relief to complete the project. And I think, it's like climbing a mountain. You finally reach the top and you look around and you go, I've done it.
Exactly. Now, what was harder, right? Like writing this book or the actual journey? I always think like writing a book must be so much discipline, but it was quite the journey, wasn't it?
It really was. I guess there's a comparison in the two for sure. Writing the book took 5 years. The journey on the bike took 2 months. So there was a time difference.
Exactly.
Right.
Why, we're going to get into the why of the actual journey, but why write the book after doing something like this? Why did you feel that you needed to share this very personal journey and the whys of why you did this journey?
Well, for one, I was writing a blog when I was on my journey and was really more for the purpose to inform my family and friends where I was, that I was actually still alive.
Proof of life, right?
And people were literally like biting their nails to get the next post so that they can follow along. A big help was my daughter, Matea, who, whenever I was able to get in touch with her, I would send her what I wrote and where I was, and then she would put it on my blog. And a lot of people says, oh, you got to write a book. And I'm going, yeah, right. Well, I'm not really a writer, but people could really relate, and they did travel with me, just like you said. And I wanted to share the experience in a sense that we all have things happening in our life. We all have challenges. We all suffer sometimes with things that we have not expected that life was going to throw at us. And even in my case, I felt pretty stuck, especially after the cancer treatments and with all the things that were going on. And I wanted to show people that there is life after, and we just need to keep moving on. And I thought by sharing my experiences, I could inspire people to go follow their own dreams and just get out, keep on moving.
Yes. Sorry, I've got a little thing that just popped up here. But it's, I know it's, on some level, I feel like I can kind of relate because I just hiked rim to river at the Grand Canyon last weekend. And I did it because it was coming after 6 months of lots of ups and downs. But I think my great, it doesn't compare, it pales in comparison, I should say, to to what you did, but I feel that there was some sort of cathartic thing of accomplishing something and just moving forward, even though it was really daunting and very, very difficult, you know, to try to, you know, make it to the end, you know?
Right. And I think also, you know, and my trip also pales in comparison with a lot of things that people do in life. And I'm not comparing myself, you know, I didn't climb Everest solo without oxygen, or, you know, there are greater things that people accomplish, but when you are in that physical space and when you do kind of suffer physically, it also takes your mind off of your emotional pain. It allows you to just be in the moment. And I think that kind of helps us move on as well. And it allows us to also process. And when you accomplish something, no matter what it is, it just gives us confidence back in life.
What the time that you embarked on this journey, what had gone on for you? I mean, you mentioned your cancer treatments, but what led up to this 2,500-mile journey for you?
I think I just needed to be alone.
I know. Yes. I mean,
I
because
needed
you
to
went
get
through
away.
well,
Yeah,
and it's funny because in the book, you even say it was the need to do something for and by yourself was greater than all the other obligations that you had in your life.
it was that window of opportunity that I had. And, you know, when you're raising your children and you're working, and everyday things that go on can really kind of muddle our life, and we don't see clearly what are we really doing here.
Mhm.
By going and doing something by myself and for myself, in a way, it maybe sounds really selfish, but I needed that to be myself again, because I felt like I really, you give, and you keep getting kind of pushed in a corner, or feeling down by all the things, especially health wise, that were happening. And I just needed to regroup, to come back, to be a good mother again, to be a good wife, to be myself. Because growing up in a socialist country too, it's like, you know, you're always doing things for everybody else. You are not necessarily as individual as I always want it to be. And, you know, I was raised, you have to be a good wife, you have to be a good mother. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the most beautiful thing to do. And I am a giver, but in order to give, you have to be yourself.
Yes. It's like focus on, you know, it's give to yourself first before you can give to everybody else. And you mentioned a communist country, grew up in Slovenia, right?
Which used to be a part of former Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia.
Yes.
And so for you, though, this was something that I think you were a teenager when you were first saying, I want to climb mountains, you know, I want to, this is something that was born as a young girl. I mean, this wasn't something that just popped into your head later in life, you know?
I grew up in a beautiful place. I grew up in the foot of the Julian and Karavanken Alps, bordering Austria and Italy, right in the corner there. It's really a beautiful place, and I had an amazing childhood. I had incredible parents. My dad was very, very adventurous. He took us into the mountains from basically since we were able to walk. It's climbing mountains and hiking mountains is kind of national obsession there. I mean, as soon as the sun comes out, you go out and everybody's got backpacks and hiking poles. And and then I got into climbing and mountaineering as well. And that's pretty much what also brought me to Lake Tahoe, because it's very similar in the environment, and I immediately fell in love. And yeah, mountains were my life, and mountain climbers. If I ever, I mean, as a young girl, people have posters of their movie stars or, singers and, whatever.
Who were your idols?
My idols were mountain climbers.
Yeah.
I had posters of mountain climbers and front pages of Alpinist magazine posted on my walls. So it was a little different.
I love that.
Yeah, and I used to ride my bike to high school, which was about 20 kilometers from where my home was. And then at school, I would have clogs and sweatpants and sweatshirts. I was not your typical teenage.
Well, and the fact too that, I mean, you came to the United States, in your late teens. I mean, that's pretty, I mean, I think you were someone who, you're not someone I think that can be held back. It's like you have a singular vision, and it's sort of I think you're fearless, really. And I think that's, I don't know, I don't think that's something that can be taught, right?
It was in me. I have to also admire my parents that they let me go.
Yeah.
And all the things that I did. I mean, I did a lot of solo hiking and climbing when I was a young teen, 16, 17. And my parents had faith in me and let me go to experience life. And that takes a lot of courage in parents. And I know I worry about my kids all the time.
Oh, for sure.
But I was quite a sickly child. I didn't even come home from the hospital until I was like 6 months old. And the doctor who placed me in my mom's arms, because I weigh about the same at 6 months as kind of a newborn child, she said, this kid has something else in her. At least that's what my mom tells me.
Wow. Well, and it's funny because you talk a lot about your parents in the book, and there was one thing that really stuck with me, and I believe it was your dad who said that if facing adversity head on, you must accept it and then just keep moving forward. I think that is like page 111, everyone. Because I love that, because when you talk about being a sickly child, but then you have these unbelievable health, it's traumatic health things. You went through cancer and, the colonoscopies and all this kind of thing. I mean, talk to us about that, the adversity that you went through, and how on some level, maybe it was the cancer that really gave you the permission to follow through on your dreams. Do you think? That's what I was.
It really was. It opened that door for me. And because when you are facing the mortality, and when you say, this is it, I could be gone in no time. Some people don't even get that warning, unfortunately. I did get that warning, and we shouldn't wait for that to do things. And I think that's another part that I'd really like to tell people. Life is precious. Don't wait for something crazy and traumatic to happen, because it could be too late. But I did get that green light. And yes, I blew up my knee, which ended up my ski coaching career. That I was a ski coach for 30 years. And that was a huge part of my identity. And I needed a new identity in a way. And maybe that's also where the writing of the book comes in. And to do something like that, when you're over 50, and to find that new passion is priceless. And I didn't even put in the book of all the things that were happening with me, because people would think that I'm like a walking disaster.
I was like, wait, there's more? Because I was
Well,
like,
I
okay.
had this one page that was that I mean, I took a lot, you write, but then you gotta cut out a lot of stuff, because it's not just, I didn't want it to be like all these terrible things are happening to me. It was more about moving forward and moving on when you face adversities.
Yeah, it
But
was
I
kind of like
broke my
this, and you're
jaw.
doing this as you're going through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I broke my jaw rollerblading, and I lost like all my molars through that, and I'm bleeding on a bike path and picking my teeth from the bike path, and that didn't even make it into the book.
Oh my God, woman, you are like, it's like a 9 lives, and it's sort of like, yeah, you kind of quoted Monty Python a lot in the book too. And it's funny, it's only a flesh wound.
Oh my God, that
It's
is my
so true.
favorite scene in my
I
life.
know, because that's the thing. It's like, okay, how much can one woman deal with, Um, but yet it was somehow all leading you to this ride, and I guess just the feeling too of, I mean, how difficult really was it? I mean, you write about it clearly, but how rough was this journey from Baja? I mean, I'm sorry, from Tahoe all the way to Baja, Mexico.
You're gonna think this is crazy, but I'm actually really a lazy person and not a good planner. So I didn't want to plan too much because I didn't want to get discouraged. Um, and when the first day when we were riding around Lake Tahoe, I went with two of my friends who rode with me.
Yep.
We used to coach mountain biking together, and they accompanied me on the first leg of 50 miles. They rode with me, and they are both like super humans and super athlete, which Tahoe is full of uber athletes. I mean, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing?
It's like, here, let me
I'm
take me to the casino.
I'm dying, and I'm climbing this, out of Emerald Bay, and
Oh
that was
yeah.
just the beginning. So there was a lot of climbing, a lot of really cold temperatures, um, especially through the mountains in California, because I left late September on September 28th, and the first storm systems of winter were already coming through. So I was camping in the snow, and I had a sleeping bag way too light, and I hate being cold. And then by the time I got to Baja, it finally got warmer at night, which I needed to rest when you're camping. I mean, you're riding 8-10 hours a day. So you're tired and you're sweaty and you need good rest. But then in Baja, the temperatures during the day would get well over 100 degrees. So that the temperature difference, it's rough out there. And then you're scared and you hear bears around the tent, and so that, yeah, there were moments that were, but I was physical part. I'm used to going through that. I've had experiences in my life that I could relate to, that if you just grind it out, that you're going to get to the top at some point. And it was more like there were stretches where I was really worried more about other people than animals and physical stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Like your
lonely
family and that.
campgrounds,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
like even like if I was in the wilderness and in really remote areas, I was fine. Where there were possibilities that, because the campgrounds were barren, there were nobody else around, but it's like in the back of your mind, it's like, ooh, I'm all by myself here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's like
so
you start thinking about all those movies you've seen, the campground stuff.
you don't
Um,
want to watch any of those movies, and you do not want to read any of that stuff. And I stayed away on, I read some books, especially after, Mexican border crossings and, of all the drug stuff that goes on. I stayed away from that. I wanted to have a clear mind. And I also think if you don't project that fear, and if you don't think about that, then we don't attract it. You greet people with a smile, you're open, and people will be back that way. Not always. I'm not saying, you shouldn't be naive about it.
Right.
But
But it's a state
that
of
was
mind, right? As you're going
it
through it.
is.
Yeah.
It's like, and if you don't think about terrible things, then hopefully they won't happen.
You got definitely a following as you were going along this bike ride. I mean, people were shocked at what you were doing, but also people recognized you. They knew about, hey, this is that woman, that's going this far. But what is it that you kind of learned about yourself and other people, strangers, along the journey?
Well, I met people. I mean, and that was really the colorful part of my journey as well. The people that I did meet and connected with, I think they probably looked at me differently too, because I was a woman traveling by myself. Some people that I met in Yosemite says, "Oh, you are carrying a gun if you're going to Mexico, right?" Just like, that was that too. But I had this particular conversation with this lady, Marianne, in forget where it was at the moment, but she was wonderful. And we talked exactly about that. If you trust people, we're like animals. If you show dog that you're afraid of them, then they might attack you, or they will look at you differently. And it's the same with humans. We're just another animal, really. And I think it's how we react. And if we show people that we respect them, that we, not to sound too spiritual out there, but if you give love, you will get love
That's what
back.
you're going to get
Yes,
get it back.
it's how we react to the world will react back to us. And when I got down to La Paz, and I was kind of waiting, watching this parade for through La Paz streets, and it was magnificent. And this woman rides up to me and she goes, "I know you." And I'm going, "I don't know you." And she was following my blog, and somehow in the crowd she found me. There's serendipity. It is so amazing how, you put yourself out there and what you get out of it. It's just, if we're just brave enough to go out into the world, it will really give us back tenfold.
I thoroughly concur with that. And I'm curious too, because this was something in the book you wrote, that it was that you wanted to heal your ravaged body and your wounded soul. Did you achieve that?
Oh, I think I did, for sure. Through a lot of pain.
No pain,
And,
no gain. Yeah.
yeah. I did. I was hoping that my damaged leg would heal more. That didn't happen. I mean, that nerve damage was permanent, and that tough part of the journey, because I would wake up in cramps constantly in the middle of the night. And but it's like birth. We are designed to forget that physical pain too. So I think it's how I grew personally through all that is really the healing part.
Yeah.
And yeah, it comes gradually. When I first, it's not like, I got done with a ride and I'm going, "Oh, now I'm a different person."
It's
It's
takes it to,
still, I'm still reaping the rewards because of all the things that the ride gave me. It gave me the book.
yes. And is this something now, like, are your adventures, are you kind of done, or are you feeling like, okay, now I want to do this. I still have to do that. I mean, do you still have dreams you would like to fulfill?
Definitely, I have dreams that I would love to fulfill. How realistic some of those are. My focus now is really on my husband. That is my next adventure.
How is Jim doing?
He's doing good. It's been this winter he broke his femur. And it has nothing to do with Parkinson's. This
Yeah.
guy is so amazing. He is my hero. Here's the guy, who's got Parkinson's. He's an amazing athlete and he's riding a one wheel. I don't know
Oh,
if you know what a one wheel is.
well, like a unicycle?
It's not a unicycle. It's like a skateboard on this big one wheel that it's electronic.
Yes, I've seen people in our, yes, in our
Yes.
neighborhood doing that.
And the darn things died on him and came to an abrupt stop. So it kind of folded forward and threw him off. So he broke his femur and hip and we had a surgery and now he's waiting for a back surgery. So it's been a bit tough.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I
but
know, but it's
he's
like,
my
if
project.
people, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if people don't try things, then yeah, then they're never gonna get injured. But here's the two of you. There's really nothing that stops you, where even if you're coming up against a lot of injuries and things, but it seems like you two together are an amazing team. And has he forgiven you for going on this 2,500-mile journey?
He better. He wasn't happy with me. And
No,
and
no.
I understand that. He worried and it's love.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
another great moment too, like, I'm sure he was extremely proud of you. And maybe, you write that he's very, he's a man of few words. But I know that he was probably proud of you, but he was probably also mad, like, oh my God, what you put me through. But I love that you write that your kids were so proud of you. And in fact, I think it's, I wrote it down too, but it was just such an amazing thing, what the point of what you were trying to show your kids. And maybe you can explain that, like, what is it that you're hoping is the takeaway from what you did for your children?
I think in parenting, I think the best kind of parenting is teaching by example. And I did want to make my kids proud of me because I am so proud of who they are and who they have become or becoming, but they will have their challenges in life as well because life is messy and
Yes.
we find ourselves on rocky path. And maybe someday they'll be able to say, mom's gone through a lot of stuff. I can do it. I
Yeah.
can get through this, and I think leading by example, and that maybe sounds like a cliche, but leading by example is an important thing. And yeah, I did want to make my kids proud, no matter what happens in life.
Absolutely. Is the takeaway for people who don't know you but have read your book and seen your videos, is this something that anybody can do? Like, to do exactly a 2,500-mile bike ride, or is it something where you say, you know what, no, you need to just go find your own journey?
I think what you said at the end is definitely what sometimes that journey is just a walk around the block, because there's depression, there's health, and just to get yourself out and walk in the park takes effort. My mother right now, for example, is dealing with pretty heavy depression.
Oh.
And she is struggling because part of it is also that she lost a lifelong partner who was my father. And I'm watching her, it takes every ounce of her strength sometimes just to get off the couch. And I have to tell her, Mom, go outside, go for a walk. And sometimes that walk is 5 minutes around the block. Sometimes it's a 2,500-mile ride, or sometimes it's a travel around the world. Whatever that is for someone. And if they read my book, I want people to say, if she did it, I can do it. Would I tell everybody that they can go on this ride? No, probably not. But, even though that I've never bike packed before, I did have the skills, and you do have to have, and that's an important thing too, is you have to have a certain amount of skills. Otherwise, you're putting yourself in a situation that might turn fatal. And you're also putting yourself in a situation where you will put other people that will come to rescue you in a situation that could be dangerous. I think I had enough background to be self-reliant, and I really wanted to be self-reliant. Yes, I had Garmin inReach, which was a little satellite device that, I could call for SOS if I needed to. I never wanted to use it. So I took more, let's say, okay, I'm a mountain biker, and if I go for a ride back here behind my house, I'll take more risk. Back there, I did not take risk on doing, stuff. If you're in the mountains in the Himalayas, you have to also, or big mountains, wherever, you have to take the calculated risk.
Yeah.
And you have to have the skills to get yourself out, because you cannot count on other people. And I had to be very mindful of that.
Yeah.
So is it for everybody? No, but it's a lot of people can do it. Absolutely. If that is what they want to do, it has to come from you.
Exactly. No winging it too.
No.
But, I mean, everything that you conquered cancer, you took this ride with nerve damage from an accident and surgery. I mean, with your husband and what he was dealing. I mean, it's really incredible what you have achieved. And I just wonder if you have a motto. Do you still have the same motto after this?
My motto always has been keep dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And when you stop dreaming, you stop living. And I still have that motto. Yes, I still have dreams to achieve things and to learn. And I think if we keep learning and growing, there's different ways of doing that. And whatever my path will be, I know I love to write. I love to learn the trade of writing and the skills. And I hope I have my voice that people like. And that is my new identity as well. And rides will still be there. I mean, my dream, don't tell my husband, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'd really like to ride all the way to Ushuaia, which is at the bottom of Argentina.
Ooh,
but that's a big one.
That's a big one. And then will you come back and talk to us after that one? Or I'll contact you during as you're going through it.
There you go. Well, if I survive, if I'm alive, yes.
Well, Alenka, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, because it's I thought my Grand Canyon thing was great, but yours was even better. So, and your new identity as an author is you picked well. This is an amazing book. So I thank you so much.
My gosh, thank you so much. It was so fun talking with you. And Yeah, let's keep that conversation open. Who
I
knows?
love it.
Who
Well,
knows
if
where it's
you
gonna
would
take
like
us.
to learn more about Alenka and her new memoir, She Rides, just go to our website, thewomenseye.com. And there you'll also find our books, 20 Women Changemakers. Just shop wherever you buy books and at changemakersbook.com. And one more, 20 Women Storytellers at womenstorytellers.com. So thanks again to you, Alenka, and to you for tuning in to the Women's Eye podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and ride. I'm Stacey Gualandi. Remember, it's the world as we see it.
Thank you, Stacey. You're wonderful. Appreciate it. Bye.